So, we appear. Alright guys, now this is really muggy out today and I'm going to try and make this a quick video. But what we've got today for you are all three batteries. We're going to end with the newest one, which I have not flown outdoors yet. And we're going to start with the heaviest one. Also, I've put the sensitivity on 3. I don't know if you guys can see that. I will show it to you. Sensitivity is on mode 3. So, we are ready to go. I'm going to angle this sucker back a little so you guys can see a little bit more of this. And away we go. Whoa, fairly quick. But this is a whole world different than what it was before, you guys. Wow. I knew this battery would pick up, and I did not expect it to be anywhere near this strong or this fast. I was right. It is technically an upgrade over the stock battery. Not quite. It's very close, and I was right about what I expected. And what I expected was that because of its weight, it actually does make pretty good speed, but it uses a lot of power to achieve it. So I've landed it behind me. I'm going to take it off again, and I just want you guys to see how it takes off. That was pretty smooth, man. But it is using a fair bit of power, and you see that awkward turn? You have to be really slow on the controls with this heavy battery. So I'm switching back to mode 1 because with it on mode 1, it's less likely to just fall out of the sky. But I'm going to try and bring it a little closer. I'm going to show you what I was talking about. When you just turn hard and do this, it falls out of the sky. All I did was turn it around, and it fell. That is bad, and that is a sign of too heavy a battery. So we're going to bring it back. And don't get me wrong, it flies nicely enough. I was able to catch it with my bare hand. However, that was to verify the big battery. Okay, you guys can see the specs there, hopefully. So there's this one. And this one is a good battery. And now that it's on its final break-in, basically it's done breaking in, it's a lot stronger than it was. Now we're going to switch over to my go-to battery, which is my favorite, so that you can see why it's my favorite. And I will show you why I like this helicopter. So, I've plugged in my battery. Now I have to restart the controller because it has to rebind. So when you switch batteries, you have no choice. And as you can see, it moves out and climbs very easily. And if I make that same turn, it doesn't drop much. It only drops a little bit. And this is the heavier of the two new batteries that I've made. Not quite. It kind of is. I mean, if you really think about it, it isn't. It is with the aluminum heatsink in it, but on its own, it's actually not very heavy. And it does fly well. Now, what I like about this particular battery is it flies very quickly, climbs very nicely, resists dropping out of the air. It's really a lovely way to go. And you can see it's still a bit wobbly because we got a lot of wind today. We actually have a rainstorm coming in, so you can see that that's fighting a fair bit of wind here. So I've lowered her, and we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to do 2 takeoffs with each one. And now we're going to fly it on the same level 3 of mode. So it's level 3 of sensitivity. And you can see the difference. I mean, this thing is hypersensitive. I give it a tiny bit of throttle and it responds. I go to spin it, it responds. Look at that. I can pin one rotor down and just spin the aircraft. And it'll actually handle that kind of maneuver really, really well compared to any of the other batteries I have. This is definitely the most aerobatic battery so far. But we're going to bring it back now for its second landing. You can see that it handles pretty well. I mean, I'm actually really, really happy with this small battery. It has been absolutely beautiful to use, and I have been kind of madly in love with this battery for a while now because of how good it is compared to the stock battery. But it's mostly because it just gives a good balance of flight characteristics. It's not all crazy. It doesn't just bounce all over the place. It's actually really, really nice. So now we're going to try the new one, and we're going to try it on the exact same mode 3, plugging in first. No, turning on our remote first, and then plugging in our battery. tuck these guys down here while we wait for it to do its thing. Let's just see. We've got a good connection here. Yes, apparently we do. This connector, I'm thinking, might not actually work as well as the other one. But we'll see. If I have to put another connector on it, I can. It does not appear that's going to be needed, though. It's binding. All's good. And we're going to see how this little 300 mAh works. Ah, nice. Now we're going to give it our little spin test. We'll bring it over here so you guys can see. Bring it a little closer, and now we're just going to spin it. See that? It did want to drop out of the air a little, but not that bad, but it's pretty unstable. Now, with every one of these batteries, all I've done is the same thing, guys. Now, this battery is on its first charge as an aircraft battery, so I expect it to be incredibly weak, just like the other one. It takes a while for them to actually be able to manage the power requirements and the amount of charge that they're getting. Like, look, this is actually not yet an upgrade. I mean, I actually just had it drop out of the air. Now I have to go get it. But this is always going to be the case with a new battery. Don't let it freak you out. This one was the same way. It didn't fly very well on the first flight, but got better with successive flights. So, it's done. I'm just going to go grab it. I'll be right back. So, this battery, not dead, but warm. Almost bordering on hot. Which tells me that this little guy isn't probably going to be all that good a battery because it really heats up under heavy load. It's designed to give its power very slowly to do a trickle charge on a set of headphones. I have it dumping huge amounts of current compared to what it's used to into a helicopter that basically will drain that current really, really fast. So on review, the big battery, guys, actually didn't do bad. Now that it's broken in, I'm actually going to end on that battery. Because this one's pretty good, but it's pretty much dead. It died very quickly, which is fine. I mean, that's literally to be expected when you have any kind of an RC battery that's brand new. It demands a huge volume of current, guys. It really does. Even something small like this, I mean, we're talking about a very small battery, but at the same time, it's got to have power. It's got to give its power very quickly. Whereas in a lot of applications, it really wouldn't need to give that power out so quickly. It has the power, but it doesn't have to surrender that power all at once. Whereas with this particular setup, it's demanding power instantaneous. Right second now, I want it all, and I want every ounce you can give for as long as you can give it. That's about the hardest use you could possibly put on a battery. An RC heli or a drone is actually very tough on batteries, guys. Incredibly tough on batteries. But as you can see, it's actually handling very well. I've still got it on mode 3. I'm going to switch to mode 2 just to test it on mode 2. It's actually really sweet on mode 2. If you like it sensitive, this is just perfect. And it's quick. It's actually a good deal faster than I expected. But don't forget, this is an 1100 mAh. And it does very, very well, guys. I'm actually really loving this little battery here. It's still not my favorite because it's a bit heavy. But this is what I wanted to show. I mean, this is 100 mAh smaller than the original battery. Oh, but it's technically an upgrade. And it's the kind of upgrade where you'll notice it right away. Not so much. I mean, oh, hey, we just hit that post over there. Watch this. I was in the middle of pointing out how fast it is, which it is, I disconnected the battery when I slammed it into a post so hard that it hit the post. I wasn't expecting it, which means the rotors were turning. And there's no significant damage, and the vehicle keeps right on rolling like it never happened. That is my favorite thing, guys, about the Viper drone. Of all the drones I've had, it has the toughest blades. I will say that. On most other drones right there, I'd have gone through a set of blades, if not a set of servos, while they shredded all their gears. But in this case, it's just a geared system. There's no actual servos, so they don't strip out. And the gears are actually pretty soft, and they'll bend before they break, which means you can literally just bend the gear back if it breaks. So for a lot of things, I like this drone. It's one of the reasons why I've decided on this type of. You can see it just lost power there. So I'm going to bring it back. It's still not fully broken in. It can actually take quite a few charges to break in a battery for a helicopter or a drone. And the reason is really simple, guys. It's just what I was describing to you. This wants to eat the power right this second kind of now. And that's the battery I finished on. I have to admit, I loved it. It worked awesome. So now that this one is cooled down, it may seem strange, but I actually do want to pretty much run it right down on this charge because, and only because, I don't want to kill it completely, but I know that it wasn't dead yet. 100% I know that it wasn't quite dead yet. So I'm going to let that spool up. I'm going to quickly light myself a smoke, and I'm going to relax because this will not be the hard or charging flight. I'm at the point now where with this battery, you got to pay attention and fly like you mean it. If you fly gentle and precise, you're going to love this battery. Oh, that apparently did not connect, which it did again, so I need to adjust my connector, which shouldn't be too big a deal. In fact, it never is, and that might actually be what happened. If the connector is not making a proper connection inside, which it appears it might not be, so let me just take a look at that. Actually, it looks like it could be okay. It looks like it could be making a proper connection. There we go. It's just not quite going far enough into the connector. I just have to train off some more, but as you can see, it's working. So, and as you can see, I was right. Once the battery cooled, it really wasn't dead at all. It still had power left. It was just overheating. All right, so, and while it might not have a lot of power left, it just dropped, so I didn't want to burn it until it was completely dead, but I do want to run it until your voltage is just about as low as it can stand and without doing permanent damage. And the reason is it'll take a stronger charge later, guys. This was the first charge. You guys saw how pathetic it was, and you're like, yeah, you're an idiot, dude. This isn't an upgrade. Don't forget, this battery started life much the same way and is now my best battery. Maybe even eclipsed by this one because it was slightly faster with this battery from the look of it to me, which makes sense. It was one of the things I thought that it could be, but now I'm thinking, well, it's my least aerobatic because it's the heaviest. It is the faster, and it is the longer runtime. So this is a good aerobatic battery, but my guess is when this one's done, it'll be better because it'll still make good power. It needs to break in for that, though. This was only a 0.3 amp. We're trying to bring it to a 1.1 or a 1.2. And we're going to be successful. Keith out.